Good morning, and welcome to Winnipeg. Welcome to bright and sunshiny Winnipeg. The sun just finally came out, I'm guessing, about an hour ago. Weatherman's predicting they were supposed to have warm weather coming. Things are looking up. Now first of all, earlier this morning I went out and I shoveled a little path just wide enough to walk on, just one shovel width wide, so that the mailman could get easily up to the house. Yesterday I had a delivery from Amazon, and I knew it was coming, and because it said out for delivery, and so I was sort of half watching, and I saw the guy coming, and I stood in the doorway, and he's trudging up my driveway, and he says something to the effect of, "You should shovel your driveway." But he said it nicely. He was sort of, in a joking sort of way. So, I felt bad for him, and I tipped him $5 for his extra effort. I said, "For your extra effort." Yeah, because he could have, he could have turned around, got back in his little truck, and said, not deliverable or something like that. Too much snow on the driveway. I don't know. I've never had that happen though. Anyway, I thought I'd better get out there this morning and do a little bit of shoveling, and because the mailman's got to do every single house. That is, if there's a letter for it. And he's got it. And all the other neighbors shoveled their driveways yesterday. Why didn't I, right? Well, there's a reason for that. Anyway, okay, what do we got going on here today? Enough about the weather. We are going to be able to turn the page to step 28, but we don't need to turn the page. We just sort of move over. And I was looking at it earlier this morning, and I thought, there's only two pieces we got to find here for this, and that's the J36s. Everything else we've already got, but it's not painted yet. So it could be we're going to have to do some painting real soon here. Now, speaking of painting, our friend Gabe from Gabe's Swabs, he emailed me last night, and he sent a couple of pictures. And one of the pictures is of a wooden ship he's building. I think, is it the Mayflower? Or Santa Maria, that's what it is. Anyway, he's building this. I don't know if he's doing it from scratch or if he's doing it from a kit. But anyway, but then he also included a couple of, or a picture of all the little American sailors he's making for our Iowa. And he's indicating that one of these days he's going to be bringing them by. So thank you, Gabe. Appreciate that. In the meantime, we got to continue on here. Oh, another thing I was going to mention. I was going to put these little parts in my tin here. And this thing here that I use for rotating on top of the rotator, the other day I was watching a recent episode from military modeler Paul, and what he had was a little round thing sitting on his model table, and when he wanted to display his part, he put it on it, and then he just turned it. And I thought, that's sure a lot more handy than having to put this thing on top of an old record player turntable, which is what that black thing is that I use. And and I think what I'm going to do is I can go down to my workshop and get another piece of wood like this, and on the out of the bottom of it in the dead center, I'll have a little nail or something, maybe come out just an eighth of an inch is probably all it needs. It'll dig into the green cloth, and then I'll be able to just display stuff. I'm thinking about doing that anyway. There's one other thing I was going to mention. Oh, probably about 15 minutes ago now. I'm sitting here, and I see movement outside my front window, and I look up, and it's my neighbor. She's come over with the shovel, and she was going to shovel out my path. Well, I'd already done it. I should have held off for about an hour. Anyway, as I've said 3 or 4 times before, we have such nice neighbors here. Yeah. Even the neighbors next door are nice, but they're in Mexico. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I don't blame them. They've spent almost the whole winter there. They've got just about 3 weeks left to go, and then they're going to be back. And I was telling them that, like, I Skype with them quite regularly. And I was telling him that by the time he gets back, all the snow should be gone, and it probably will be. We're supposed to be getting really warm weather. I was going to say hot weather. Well, hot compared with what we've had, but 10 degrees Celsius is hot. Anyway, let's move on here, and maybe we'll get our J36s and then start thinking about maybe doing a little bit of spraying. Okay, everything is pretty much the way I left it from the last time I worked down here. And now, just by coincidence, I was going to cut up a piece of 1-inch material, but I've got this thing here, and I think it's probably pretty much square, which is great. I could probably use this. Yeah, this is exactly square, more or less. It's square enough. So I'm going to use this. Well, that'll save me making a bunch of racket here. Okay, now let's find the center. Now, I was thinking afterwards, why don't I make it exactly square? And then I thought this might be a real good chance to give out sort of a tip. And so let me raise my blade a bit here. That should be good. Now, the tip is this. I'm going to use my fence here to cut something that's basically square. I may as well get this out of the way because I won't be using it. I suppose I could from the other side, but I'm just going to just sort of miter this over here so it's going to be exactly right. And that's going to be about it. Okay, so we are now going to be cutting off very, very little, but we're going to make it square. Let's just see if it's going to go all the way through. Yeah, that's going to be all right. Okay, we're going to be taking off just half a blade's width, but what I want to show you here is this. When you're using your fence to cut something short, you got to watch that you are constantly prying it in this way. In other words, hold it tight against the fence so that the work can't twist like this as it's passing through. Because if it starts even just a little bit, the blade is going to, for the friction of the blade is going to want to catch it, and it is going to instantly twist and kick back at you. Anyway, just thought I'd pass that on. I know I'm not big on tips, and my fingers are too close to the blade and all this kind of stuff. But I've never had this happen, but I can envision it happening. A lot of my safety stuff I do is just sort of common sense. You sort of know what can happen. Okay, so here we go. Let's make some noise here. Okay, wait for our dust collector to wind down so that won't overpower my voice here. And my other tip is always, always, always keep your eye on the blade. Never take your eye off the blade. When you're going like this, allow your peripheral vision to see what you're doing here. But keep your eye on the blade. And then you're not going to be sticking anything in it, like your finger. Okay. Now let's find the center here. Now, when you're doing something like this, don't forget to allow for the fact that the ballpoint pen has a little bit of width. Now, this doesn't have to be that precise, does it? But I just like to do everything as precise as possible, unless it comes to photo etch. Okay, now just make a little hole through there and put a finishing nail through it, and yeah. Now, you know how I like to be honest in my workshop videos, right? This is the second take doing that. The first time when I went to pick this up, it went through there. Well, at least it didn't drop too far. I gotta put these back in the index. Okay, I hope this little tiny drill press is able to handle this great big bit. Could have used my little one upstairs, I guess, at the model table. That might have been a little more appropriate, but I think this will be alright. Okay, I'll move you in. Okay, I had to move you in from the other side, but I guess you figured that out. Alright, that should be pretty close. Okay, we'll just press that through and cut it off, shove it in a little tiny bit more, and put a little bit of CA glue on it to, yeah, you get the idea. Yeah, I think with a little bit of practice I can get this. I can turn it fairly smoothly here. If I want, I can even keep the rotation going. Okay, enough. My goodness, look at the clock. As the saying goes, how time flies when you're having fun. Now, I should mention here that the first time I tried this on the cloth, it was catching pretty bad from the burrs sticking out from the plywood. So I had to take it back down to the workshop, and I've sanded the edge nice and smooth. Just in case you're thinking of making something like this for yourself, you gotta sand it or it's not going to work. Unless, of course, you're not dumb enough to use a cloth on your model table, like somebody I know. Okay, J36, and here it is. And here's the other one, or so I thought. But this says 29. And at first I thought, uh-oh, Trumpeter's made another mistake. They got the numbers mixed up. Or maybe they got it wrong in the manual. Well, let me show you. other end of the sprue is our other 36. I almost cut off the 29. Okay, there we go. Let's get those cleaned up, and we're just about ready to spray. Okay, there is something that I think we should do before we paint our parts here, and it just seems like I'm looking for any excuse at all to not have to paint. I hope we're not going to be going through that again. All right, now, how well is this going to fit on the top here? You know what, I'll recompose here. We won't put the macro lens on, but we move in just a little bit. Now this is my first time trying to get this in here since we glued the post onto the bottom of the photo etch. Maybe I'd better not let go of it. I can see where it will probably stay in place if we were to put a little bit of extra thin in the hole and let everything meld together. But it could be that if I was to accidentally drop it or have it ping out of my tweezer, the post could break off of the photo etch there. It's maybe I shouldn't be twisting it around. Oh my goodness. There we go. Let's grab it that way. Okay, I'm just trying to show it to you how fragile that connection is between the post and the photo etch. Okay, let's quit while we can, or as I say, let's quit while the quitting's good. Okay, so here's what's happening. In the back room where the new model table is, there is a light fixture in the ceiling, just an ordinary bedroom type light fixture. And there's 2 light bulbs in it right now. And although it's acceptably bright, it's not bright like what I've got here, at least like what I'm used to. So I wanted to rig up sort of like I was going to make a light bar, I went online to see if I could, buy a light bar, and then anything that you buy is really expensive, and I thought I could make something up a lot cheaper and a lot more efficient than what you can buy as far as a light bar goes. And then I got to thinking, well, instead of having a light bar, why don't I just have a string of lights, like a Christmas tree lights, that sort of thing. So what I've got here is, I think they call these pigtails, light bulb pigtails, and I've got some old wire that I've had for years. I don't even know what it's off of. I think it's number 16, but it's going to be plenty heavy enough to power these things. Like, these things are only 14 watts each. Now there is going to be 12 of them, and I do have 12 pigtails. So yeah, we're going to be using them all. And these are 5,000 Kelvin as far as color goes. Now I know you can get LED light bulbs that are probably a little bit more, that are brighter than this. These are, I think they're 14 watt, I believe is supposed to be like 100 watt of the old incandescent type. At least that's what I think it is. So we're going to have lots of illumination back there, and I want to have a string of lights going over top of the new model table, lengthways with it. And that way we're going to have nice even illumination, and I won't have to be fiddling around with these spotlight type things that I've rigged up. These lights that I have at the model table here right now, they came up from the workshop. I used them down in the workshop. Anyway, that's what I want to do here. I want to work on this. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do it. Like this stuff that you see running through here, along with the wire, is not actually insulation. It's actually to give tensile strength to this thing, so that if you use it to, for your lawnmower or something like that, and you give it a good yank, I mean an electric lawnmower, you're not gonna break it. Otherwise, you just got the. Now, mind you, I don't think you'd use this on a lawnmower. This is only 16 gauge. You'd want to use at least 14 gauge for a lawnmower. Okay. In other words, I kind of know what I'm doing here, sort of. I just don't know exactly how I'm going to go about it. Yeah, it's not going to be the light bar thing anymore. It's going to be a string of real bright Christmas lights. Okay. In other words, I'm going to call it quits here for this afternoon, because I want to start fiddling around with this. If I don't actually do it, it's not going to get done all by itself. So thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we'll be seeing you tomorrow.